So then, oh, somebody else had also asked if I had been intentional in showing how nothing is really chance, but that God orchestrates everything. And yes, that was intentional. I definitely fall into the camp that believes that God controls everything. That starts to get a little dicey when we look at things like abuse and war and famine and all these horrific things that happen in our world. But I don't believe that God has some power and that we have some power. I believe that God controls absolutely everything. So no, there is no chance, I don't think. There's no coincidence. I believe that it is all divinely orchestrated. So yes, that was definitely my intention, to show that these three different lives that are all struggling in their own ways all come together and end up helping each other or rescuing each other in one way or another. I know, the other question someone had asked was how long it took to write the story and what my writing schedule is like on any given day. When everything is working really well and when I don't have any other projects to work on at the same time, I can usually do a book in 6 months. So that's taking 1 month to do the snowflake method that I talked about before, taking 2 months to actually write the actual story, taking off a month to get away from the story so I don't have to think about it, start something else, totally get it out of my head so that I can come back that next month and start doing edits. I find it really difficult to just finish a book, then go back to the beginning and start editing right away. I'm too close to it. I'm still too involved. So I need to take a month where I can just get away from it and not think about it at all. So ideally, it's taking away a month and then coming back to it and editing for a month and then getting the book sent off. And then that last month would be marketing, doing all the various, setting up blog tours, talking to book clubs, doing interviews, all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, life does not usually work so well. So this particular book took me a lot longer. I'm trying to think exactly how long it ended up being. Actually, it wasn't terribly longer, although in the middle of when I was writing it, we actually moved from California to Colorado, so I did have a lot of time. I think I ended up taking off like 2 months or something like that. So we could move and pack and everything and then get here and get acclimated and all that kind of stuff. So this particular book I think ended up taking me about 8 months, I want to say, something like that. Not including the marketing. That was just to get the thing outlined and written and everything. And then of course, once you turn it in, then you wait a while, nervously biting your fingernails every day, wondering what your editor's going to say, and then your editor sends it back with all of their notes of things that they think you need to rework, or areas that they think you should change or whatever, and all the kind of little notes that they've made throughout the manuscript. So then it takes another month actually to go through. I shouldn't even say a month, it's usually a couple of weeks, I guess, to go through and actually fix up all the things that need to be fixed. So in terms of what a particular day of writing looks like, for me, because I've got my 2 kids, my 2 little girls, I don't get to write all day, which would be awesome, but just doesn't work that way, although it'd be awesome to spend my whole day with my girls too, and unfortunately it doesn't happen. So what I do is my husband actually takes them for the afternoon. So I have them all morning, and then I make them lunch, I get them down for their nap, and then I come up to my office, which is this room that you don't get to see because it's a disaster, and then I write basically until dinner. So I typically get somewhere between 3.5 and 5 hours a day to write, and I try to only work Monday through Friday. And then I usually start off with like administrative type stuff. So I answer emails. If I'm going to post a blog post, I usually write that first. Go post on Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff, although I'm terrible about tweeting on Twitter. I'm not a big Twitter fan. But I do like Facebook, so you'll see me there a lot. And then once I've got all that done, then I actually start working on whatever it is I'm working on. So writing, or working on the marketing, or working on the snowflake, all that kind of stuff. And then I usually take the last half hour off and do something that's non-writing related, because I need to kind of unwind my brain before I go downstairs for dinner, or else I'm all like keyed up and I can't I can't relax and enjoy my family. So then I end up, surfing forums on gentlechristianmothers.com, which is like my most favorite place to go on the internet, or Facebook, or maybe answer other emails or read blogs and that sort of thing. So, so whatever, I try to just do one writing task a day. So if I'm working on editing, I try to only work on editing, not do editing and working on a snowflake and working on marketing. You know what I mean? I try to just focus on one thing, because I find that if I try to multitask, and apparently this is like scientifically true of multitasking, it actually takes you longer to do things than it does if you would just do things one at a time. So I have a tendency to want to multitask, and I'm really trying to get away from that and just make myself focus on one thing and just do one thing at a time. So for example, right now, so for example, today was making my video for you guys. Tomorrow it's going to be working on the last round of edits for my April 2011 release, which is called The Heart of Memory. And that's also out with Zondervan, who did The Weight of Shadows. So right now I just finished doing my major edits for that book. I've got kind of one last chance to read through it before I send it back. So tomorrow, that's what I'll be doing after I answer my emails and everything, will be to start reading through that, smooth out all the transitions. I ended up adding 11 scenes into that book that weren't there originally. So I have to go through now and make sure that those scenes actually do fit where I've put them, make sure that information that shows up there is echoed in other places in the book, and that information from other places in the book gets into those scenes and that sort of thing. So a little messy, and I've never really added scenes. Actually, no, I take that back. With Worlds Collide, I ended up adding in, for those of you who've read the book, all of the scenes where Jada, the reporter, is kind of in real time talking back and forth during the interview with Jack and Grace. All those scenes were added after the book was actually written. So I have done it once before. It's not fun. It's kind of difficult. But anyway, so I'm happy with the scenes. I just got them all plugged in, and now I'm ready to start doing all that editing stuff.